Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Olsem Wanem. I'm Florence John Duo. In this week's episode, we place the spotlight on the importance of building our local capacity on disaster risk reduction and management. Papua New Guinea is prone to natural hazards. Hence, it is vital that Papua New Guineans are aware of what to do when a disaster strikes. When planning ways to reduce community vulnerability to environmental hazards, it is essential to recognize the interaction between indigenous and scientific knowledge bases. This is vital for disaster risk reduction. Risk management is a two-way process which takes hazards and its impacts on people on one side and the people's response to the situation on the other hand.
The idea is to increase their knowledge of understanding disaster risk and how best they can minimize risk in their communities, given that they are the first responders of the disaster.
94 volcanic eruptions in Rabaul. Early warning and preparation and planning was the key towards evacuation of the people in Rabaul, even though 5 lives were lost. And as we all know, in last month's Kadawo eruptions in East Sepik province, if it wasn't for the local knowledge that the villagers had, they self-evacuated a day before the eruption.
For effective risk management plans, community input and local people help to implement these disaster risk management plans will have a lasting impact. It may seem difficult to use methods that encourage the integration of scientific and local knowledge. However, it is a very important task when it comes to disaster risk reduction.
I think this is something we need to continue to promote with scientific knowledge as well as we go through. Those have to go hand in hand. If our people out there cannot understand the scientific knowledge, I think they will easily understood and better relate and better prepared to move to safety well before disaster do happens.
With the understanding that the capacity of resilience may vary in traditional societies depending on factors like the nature of the hazard and geographical settings, encouraging locals to build their community capacity of disaster risk resilience is a must.
So if the community are the first responders of any disaster, they have to actually know how best they can prepare themselves in terms of response. They should know how best they can prepare themselves in terms of relief items that could be required in case for the future. So the idea is more like a community to analyze their vulnerability context, analyze the hazards, how they affect them, and how they can strengthen to reduce their vulnerability by addressing the root causes of their vulnerability and make sure that unsafe locations are safe for them, and then they can sustain their community in terms of their development.
The International Organization for Migration, or IOM, has been driving the development for community-based disaster risk management plans. This is vital for local communities to be proactive and be prepared for when they encounter natural hazards. More on this when we come back. prepared for when a disaster strikes is vital. People must know what to do as they are the first respondents before help comes from outside. The International Organization for Migration, or IOM, has been driving the development of community-based disaster risk management plans in many provinces throughout Papua New Guinea for years. This is a collaborative effort between IOM, Provincial Disaster Offices, and most importantly, the locals and other stakeholders. That is being proactive to equip locals with whatever information, knowledge, and strategies the people will need when disasters do occur. A classic example of such preparedness is the Eroro village in the Ijivitari district in Oro province. In 2007, Cyclone Guba hit Oro province, causing much destruction. With that experience the people have, they have seen the importance of being disaster ready.
Mipla sampla swim na hadlo mipla golo high up ground Olsem so mipla struggle na mipla one go sampla or picking blo mipla waras kisimor na or young plamagi or sabe come help mipla na mipla go o get something blo mipla no kisim o get a go Isla Warakamia about 10 meters high.
Because at the moment, since disaster distracted us, from that day up to today, we are still victims. We were not in the proper position that the disaster was lifted, and we are still numb at the moment.
They have created an escape route, which all villages are aware of, and when disaster strikes, everyone knows the escape route and the meeting point. Papua New Guineans still need information as to how to go about to minimize disaster risks.
So which means it requires a lot of knowledge, a lot of information sharing, a lot of awareness. That has to be driven more and more, because Papua New Guinea is a very diverse economy. We have so many, about 600 islands, if you like, so many regions. It's very, very challenging for us to properly and effectively manage disaster if we don't address disaster and drive disaster through awareness, education, those ways and means that can help us to drive message home. And we hope that our people can be better educated to better look after themselves as well in face of those disaster situations that will continue to unfold now and of course in future. Focus now is to reduce the effects of disaster and to improve the resilience of our community.
Early warning systems is vital, and PNG has to beef up in this area and educate the people.
Early warning system. I think this year we not just emphasize the message itself, but about how to collect information, how to disseminate information, how to make the best use of information. So we expect in this year we had a chance to focus on this issue, to remind our epic memory economy how to use early warning system to protect our people.
When we return after these short messages, we hear from some locals whom Olsem Wanem has interviewed over the years about their experiences when disasters did strike their communities. These communities are now privileged to have their own community-based disaster risk management plans. Locals whom Olsem Wanem has spoken to over the years expressed that they see the need to be able to help themselves when disasters strike, because response from authorities takes time to reach them.
In that time, no one came came to see, not even a government officer. When it was broadcasted over the radio Northern that Oro province has hit by Cyclone Gubba. Not even government officer from Department of Oro, any Oro administration, made an effort to come and see which village or villages were affected. One Sohe district, Huhuru and Horau and Harange were hit. And it was on air that these villages, two villages were completely underwater with people scattered all over the place. Some slept on the coconut palms, trees, and we lost 2 lives down the river. One old woman and a young child, about 9 or 10 years old, were lost. People from Huhuru walked all the way naked, mind you, naked, when I say naked, it's completely naked. They walked all the way, people from Senani, Kipore, all these people gave clothes, this and that. They had nothing, just complete naked. Food was underwater, some 5 foot, 5, 6 foot below water. How can you find water straight after the disaster? This was incredible. Very, very nasty thing to happen. This, beyond description.
Natural disaster in Tufi especially, apart from the rest of the country, is something that we were born into it. We were born in this place, and during our upcoming we've been facing drought especially, but we've been stricken by Cyclone Hana in 1972, and that was the first ever disaster in a bigger volume. Seeing the people trying to put up with it, though it was something new, but I can tell you that nobody was killed during that disaster. So actually people managed to put up with it, and so safety, in terms of safety, was a paramount objective of the people that day, and so they survived. So we can be able to put up with disasters.
They further elaborated that when authorities do go into a system, it does not last long to a point where they fully recover from whatever disasters they encounter. Help is withdrawn and the authorities leaving behind the people to struggle to rebuild their lives, which takes years. Building the locals' capacity in disaster risk reduction is a bonus, and they have expressed gratitude.
The training through me almost through this training was planned is something where me play enough so me play got so me play no minsawe. So me play kisim na me almost this training me back sing out more leader of the community, all sets leaders. Pakau me play back training lo yeah where but it's how me kisim and bambla me can talk more about it sawena. Bagolo community na go out Olsem.
Trainings run by IOM has also helped locals be enlightened and point them in the right direction. This, they expressed, will be of great benefit to them to minimize and respond to disasters. Furthermore, they will be able to step in and help their own whilst waiting for responsible authorities to intervene.
Disaster, I think nature come up, so man, me yeti come up disaster. Thinking, me no using good thinking. Also, bagara become up also, but me stop also one and this blah. Me inaplo using thinking na stop to all. Me no been using thinking. Also, people something long life. No me stu Papua New Guinea. You got thinking long kissing free and out or kissing nothing all man. You miss around nothing. Display maybe succumb. People some time lo display. So now lo training me kissing also it must make him sample away by people can start right long time. Bagra come out.
After the break, we feature a short film by the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies on building capacity for disaster risk management.
Building capacity for disaster risk management. Around the world, governments, international organizations, NGOs, and civil society groups are working hard to build disaster risk management capacity at all levels. But to do this successfully, it's vital they have a good understanding of what works and why. Too often, current approaches are small-scale and poorly coordinated within countries and across regions. But a 2-year research project by the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies found that programs aiming to strengthen DRM capacity can improve their effectiveness in 6 key ways. Number 1. Focus on holistic disaster risk reduction. The first of these is holistic disaster risk reduction. We need to move beyond strengthening short-term emergency management and instead focus capacity-building interventions on strengthening longer-term prevention, mitigation and recovery. This includes building capacity to consider how risks may change over time, how underlying causes of vulnerability could be reduced, and how different groups may be vulnerable to disasters in different ways. Number 2. Strengthen functional capacity. The strengthening of functional capacity is key. That means doing more than just building technical skills and providing vital equipment. Instead, we need to improve people's ability to take effective decisions and action in relation to DRM. This might include clarifying decision-making processes, policies and planning, improving coordination and creating an enabling environment for DRM before disaster strikes. Number 3. Work across organizations, sectors and levels. Effective DRM requires the ability to work across different organizations, sectors and levels of government. And so we need to give greater consideration to developing skills for integration and collaboration. Building capacity for mainstreaming DRM can be highly effective in bringing about valuable long-term change. It's also important to build DRM capacities at all levels, from national government to communities, including regional and local government levels, which can often be overlooked. Number 4. Carefully plan and design programs for lasting impact. Capacity building programs need to be designed carefully, giving particular thought to how we can sustain all that's been achieved once a program has come to an end. Too often, programs are squeezed into timelines too short to secure their lasting impact. Ensuring that programs have robust monitoring and evaluation systems that focus on outcomes and impact is also important. Number 5. Pay attention to the context. It is important to pay attention to the local context when planning capacity building activities, so that they are relevant and based on a good understanding of local capacity needs. All programs should be based on thorough capacity needs assessments, but be sure to do them early enough that they can shape the program's design. Number 6. Foster ownership. And finally, ensure that those being targeted for capacity building have a clear and significant role in designing and implementing the program. Ownership is built through participation, engaging leaders and winning high-level support, as well as aligning with existing DRM strategies and policies. By carefully implementing these 6 key principles, together we can improve the effectiveness of our efforts to build DRM capacity and increase the resilience of vulnerable communities around the world.
And that's all we have for this week. And remember, disaster risk management and reduction are vital. Until next week, if you have any comments or stories you would like to share with us, please send us an email via the address now showing on your screen or visit our Olsem Wanem Facebook page. Until next week, on behalf of the entire Olsem Wanem team, thank you for watching and take care.